Guys, this is Banjo, and today I'm going to be bringing to you guys the first in detail video where I basically select one of my decks and go into detail about it. And I'll also leave a link to the deck profile itself so you can kind of see that video as well. And then just in this one, I'll just show you why or what purpose the card has in my deck. So with that being said, hopefully you learned something, and you guys can also leave stuff in the comment section if I didn't know something. So then we can learn hardcore about this deck and just beat your opponent with it. So the deck I'm gonna go into detail today is gonna be the yellow-green Attack on Titan deck I have, and it's the 2.0 version, not the first one I put up, but the second one. So onto the stuff. So Eld and basically Gunther. Gunther's too far away. So the purpose they run in this deck is basically to fuel your whole Levi Levy level 1 combo, but at level 0. The purpose they serve is, one, they can be in the back as boosters and level gainers. So what all your level 0s basically gain a level and 500 power. They can also serve as beaters. You can basically run these into your opponents like Suiciders or attack in their empty slots and stuff, because there's really not that bad of a penalty if these cards hit the graveyard, because you're basically just going to bring them back turn 1 with your whole Levi Levy climax combo. So basically that's the purpose they serve. They can also purpose discard outlets. So like the Hanji, you can use this card as a discard outlet, because like I said before, it doesn't matter how this card hits your grave, as long as it's in your grave and you have your whole Levi combo ready to go. You basically just, discard them. Also, if you by like maybe turn 2 or so, if you see that you're not getting, you don't have your level 1 Levi, or you don't have the climax for it, you can hold on to these in your hand and just play them at turn 1. But if you see that you have both of them in your hands, just go crazy with these. Run them into double reversers or Suiciders, or discard them. So that's what they serve in the deck. Next, level 0 is Dirty Aaron. The purpose it serves is just a beat stick. It can't side attack, but just at level 0 it's at 3/5. If you do have Eld and Gunther out, this is basically a 4K level 1 beat stick, so you can beat down your opponent's characters. But for the most part, you just use them just to beat down stuff. That's it. And it also it adds a touch of yellow to the deck, which allows you to play better cards later game. So that's basically his purpose, just beating down stuff. Hanji. The purpose of Hanji, just one. The purpose of Hanji basically is just searchability. Because when it comes into play, you pay 1, discard 1 to search. Like I said before, Gunther and Eld can serve your purpose of discard outlets. Since it doesn't state what you have to discard, you can also discard climaxes. So if you have too many climaxes in your hand and you're about to refresh later game, because this card works late game and early game. Late game, obviously, you can discard whatever you need that you want to get reshuffled and stuff. Like you can discard climax because you're going to reshuffle or refresh. But early game, it allows you to search all your level 1 gameplay cards, and it lets you discard pieces of the Levi combo if you already have them, basically. If you already have everything set up in your hand. Or maybe you have the climax in your hand and all you're missing is the level 1 Levi, and you can just go ahead and play this. Discard anything and then just search. So searchability works a lot. Searches your whole deck, basically. Final level 0s. So the first one's the Beyond the Wall Aaron. It does provide a 1k boost to the middle during your turn, so that always helps out, especially if you don't have very much things. Also, for example, like I said, the Aaron beater thing. If you have this in the front, it's basically a 4/5 beater. Beat down your opponent's stuff. The main purpose of this Aaron is just to brainstorm. Pay 1 rest to search from your deck, so you potentially deck thin if you want to refresh, or maybe if you don't have any of your levies or any card you basically need later on. Works both beginning and early game. And late game. Basically, but that's its purpose, just brainstorming to plus. Then the Mikasa. It does give characters that move around during the attack phase 1k, but the only character in this deck that moves around is the level 3 Levi. So maybe if you have this somewhere on your field and you move around, you get an extra 1k power boost. But the main reason I run this is because it's a spammable brainstormer. You can just pay 1 to brainstorm and it hand fixes your deck. So basically any card that's like in your graveyard that you need in your hand but you don't want, you can just basically swap them out. You do have to choose a corpse character from your graveyard, but the card you discard doesn't matter, so you can discard climaxes and stuff. It also helps you out, just like the Hanji 2, to fish out cards in your... Like, for example, you have a climax in your stock and you don't want it in the stock, you want it to be in the graveyard. You can just pay for it. But most of the times I just pay to brainstorm just to refresh. It has helped me out a lot. I believe in like one game that I played, I paid like 5 just to refresh, because you can rack up a pretty big amount of stock in this deck. And even if you play all your cards at level 3, like you have a lot of stock. I think the highest amount of stock I've gone in this deck is about like 22. But yeah, basically you just play it, especially if you're in a bad situation where like most of your climaxes are in the graveyard and you want to just like power refresh or like just mill until you refresh while trying to fix cards in your hand. It helps you out a lot. And then sometimes I even use its ability and I just discard whatever I just picked up. And it's just a refresher deck. It comes in handy. It has helped me out a lot, especially when all my climaxes are on. Next, the Oru or Oro. The purpose it serves is basically just to make your levy big and a beat stick. Same thing, it can also be handed or counted as a discard outlet, because you can basically discard it for an effect. Because, you know, you can just bring it back with the Levi combo, play the climax, bring it back. Same thing with the Petra. They're basically just like beaters in a way, where you just put them on the side to make your Levi pretty big. And then if they die, you can just bring them back. And sometimes, like, I just run them into my opponent's stuff and be like, oh, I have, you know, next turn I have a climax. Or, oh, if I draw into one, I can just bring them back. They're potential like discard outlets and just beaters, and then they die and then they come back. That's what they serve in the deck. The biological research. Basically what purpose it serves is just to fish out cards you need from your deck. Especially late game, if you're running low on cards and you just want to auto refresh. You can just play this, especially if you have a lot of climaxes in your graveyard or in your waiting room. Pretty decent. Like sometimes I play it because I'm missing like one piece or so of the Levi combo, and I can just like, I think one time I was missing the level 1 Levi, and like and I was missing, I think, an Eld, and then I used this and I got both of them. So basically I got the Eld to my hand and I got to discard, no, I got the Levy to my hand and I got to discard the Eld. So it sets up your combos too. The only really bad part, I guess, to this card is just when your deck is like pretty full of climaxes and you don't want to mill. But it helps you set up. Next is Humanity's Strongest Soldier Levi. And like basically your whole level 1 game is just getting this out, and then having your having Petra and the Burrito Man in your graveyard, or having having them out, because your whole level game is just, I play this climax combo, get them all out, attack, all they die at it. Okay, I have this Levi, he's huge. You can also play the Levi on the side. Like I know he doesn't gain the 2k boost when he's on like the sides of the front stage. But if you have Gunther and Gunther and Eld in the back, he's still a potential 8-5 beater. And that's basically it. Or 8-5, is he? Let's see. 5, 6, 7. Yeah, he's an AK. He's a AK beater. And then if you have your punch, he can be a potential 9k when your opponent attacks into him. So it's not bad putting this on the side either. But his main purpose in the deck is just being in the middle and like being huge and beating down your opponent, because he also gains a level and stuff. And since he does gain a level, he's level 2, so your opponent's level 1 suiciders or double reversers, they can't run into him. That's basically it. You have him out for almost the majority of the game. He's just there, And yeah, you just play climax, bring everybody back, and that's all he does. Bring everybody back, attack. I'm huge. If my 2 other cards on the side didn't die, I'm at 11-5 and level 2. Just beat down your opponent. The purpose of Mustache Man here is basically just a surprise punch. Since your Levy or Levi is already at like 10k at level 1, just by dropping this punch, you can get him up to 11.5k, and then if he's at 11.5k already with the whole thing, he can be up to 13k, which is like dumb. Most level 1s and like maybe up to like level 2 and sometimes 3, your opponent can't get that high without paying a lot of resources. So you want to make them pay a lot of resources. And even if they like get to kill him, if you have another Levi in your hand or like you have a lot of stock, you can just play the pay 3 refresh thing. But basically just 1-5 punch. Surprises your opponent sometimes because not many people run these. But that's just the purpose of this card, just to make your Levi even bigger just by dropping it. And it's free, so no stock involved. The Titan Power purpose. Now level 2. Basically this card's purpose is just to make your card huge and banish whatever card your opponent's attacking into. Just the hard part, I guess, about this card is since it's an event card, you can't really search it with anything. You have to draw into it. But the main purpose of this card is just to give your cards 2k power. Or not 2k, 4k power. And basically just removing your opponent's stuff, sending it into memory. Since your opponent might have stuff that changes, or they might have changed into something, and like I said, your levies like level 1 and stuff is like at 10k and stuff. If you're at level 2, you can just drop this and be like, alright, I'm at 14, like remove your stuff. So basically it's just removal. Play it, hopefully you have enough power where this plus your whatever attack you're at gets you up to like beating your opponent's character and reversing it, sending it into the memory basically. But basically it serves as the kind of removal purpose. You just have to make sure you have high attack power or you kind of play it right. But it's basically what it does, just removes your opponent's stuff. And then we'll just climax wise real quick. Obviously this one's just to gain stock, so you build up stock. In this deck you build up a lot of stock and you can use it like freely, like hardcore. That's basically its purpose, just to gain stock and just give your dudes a soul. And then when you trigger it, you give something 2 souls, so it might help you like at endgame when you're trying to like, when your opponent cancels like twice and you're like, alright, trigger, oh no, now you take 3 and then they lose because of it. So that's what that serves. And then we forgot a 0. We'll just go over it right now. So the Gentle Smile Petra, going back all the way to level 0, the purpose it serves basically is just reversing your opponent. When it becomes reversed, after the effect goes through and everything, if your opponent also has a level 0, it basically shoots it into the clock. So it just gets rid of stuff that your opponent has that's like dumb, where it's like, oh, when this card gets into the waiting room, or just level 0s that are like humongous, and you're like, you know what, screw you, you're going into the clock. So these clock double reverses are really good, sending stuff into the clock. But yeah, that's a purpose this serves at your level 0. It rarely, sometimes maybe works late game too. If your opponent just starts playing level 0s just to like attack open spots, you can just, oh look, I have this Petra in my hand, look, let me just reverse and then send you into the clock. They do heal, your opponent does heal the top card of their deck before it goes into clock, because then it'd be really stupid, because then you're basically doing damage to your opponent. But good card, it works. As long as your opponent has a 0 somewhere, it works. So yeah. Other level 2s. The Levi Beyond the Walls. The purpose this serves is basically you call it out early. It's an early beat stick, potential 8-5 to 9-5, and then also if you have your Eld and your Eld and Gunther combo out, this card is technically level 3. So sometimes your opponent won't pay attention and they'll like side attack into this, and you'll like you just go like, oh man, it's a level 3. So potentially you just want to play this game this card at level 1. You can obviously play it at level 2, but it benefits you more at level 1. So when you, like for example, if you have your whole Levi combo and like one of your rear guard, one of the cards on the side died, you can just play this out since you have 4 the turn early, and it's always going to be at like anywhere from 8 to 8-5, and since your opponent can't drop cards with backup on its text, then you know, you just go in for, or both players can't, but you just go in for damage, I guess. And just that, if your opponent doesn't remember that thanks to Gunther and Eld, it gains a level, then it's a level 3, and if your opponent side attacks, it's going to be a bad time. Especially at level 1, if they like attack with the level 1 and they're at like 2 soul, and you're like, well, I'm at 3, so they're at -1 already. So that's the purpose this card serves. Just call that out early. If you have the combo thing or whatever, potential level 3, just attacking with no fear of any cards with backups being dropped. Next, Armin. So the purpose this card plays is just to make all your cards unaffected by, or your opponent can't choose them by effects. It basically makes everything on the field that it can't be chosen, so that's a good plus. It also provides you a boost, especially to the card in the middle, if you have 2 of these in the back, providing it a 4K boost. So that's basically just its main purpose, just boosting, making all your stuff not targetable or chosen by your opponent's effect. It also helps you mill, in the essence that when you play it, you get a look at the top X cards. Usually always I have at least 2 other cards, so when he comes in, that's 3 cards that I get to look at and add one to my hand. And it especially helps you out in the late game if you need some cards in your hand. And it also helps you mill, like if you're about to refresh too and you don't want to refresh, you want to refresh on your turn and not during your opponent's turn, so you can get all your climaxes back into your deck. Playing this is really good. Like let's say you have 3 cards left and then you just play it, look at top 3, you know, you refresh and all that stuff, and you add one. So basically, yeah, it basically pluses you. So that's basically this card's purpose. Gold bar purposes, since I'm going to get into the Levi. The purpose of the gold bar is just basically 1k 1 soul to your dudes, and basically throwing in stock, or putting the top card of your deck into the stock, allowing you to add this to your hand for your climax combo. And just remember, never put these in your hand or save these in your hand, because no matter what, eventually you'll run into one and then you'll hate yourself for saving them. Finally, the Levi. Here's the signed one. There you go. The main purpose of this card is your end game. The climax combo basically helps you heal, going around specific cards that have like, oh, if this card is sent into the graveyard, you minus something. So since with the climax combo, the card you place basically is from your damage, it bypasses that and basically screws up your opponent. And its finisher effect, the effect to restand, basically what I do with this is I make sure this kills something, and whatever card I'm going to tribute for its effect, I basically run it into my opponent's monster, because it doesn't matter what position it's in. So I just, like, you know, throw that in, pay 3 after I kill something, restand, move it over, and then just attack, and then hopefully I kill it, and if I don't kill it, I at least inflict some sort of damage. So basically it's just the end game. It's your healer, it's your restander. You remember, you can only just do it once, and when you play it from your hand. But basically that's it for this. It's your end game. Just attack and restand, do more damage, as much damage as you can during the end game. So that's it for this in-depth deck profile thing. I'll bring you guys more in-depths and more deck profiles and more stuff later on. With that being said, have a nice day, like and subscribe, and all that other stuff.